Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Q&A session for the opening of our admission. Let me introduce myself. I'm Simon Vanessa. I'm the head of ArtFX. I'm directing the free schools of ArtFX, and I'm very glad to be here today. Just a few words about the content of this Q&A. The goal here is really to help you out, understand how to apply, to answer any questions, any difficulties you may have considering whether or not you should apply. So all that is going to happen in the chat, but I'm not alone today. First with Juliette Ledoux, which is our admission officer. Hello, Juliette.
Hi.
So Juliette will be here to give us all information that you may need to complete your registration and apply to the school. And I'm also with Caris and Nia. Hello.
Hello.
Do you want to introduce yourself directly?
I can, yeah. I am Karis. I am a third-year student here, and I'm currently in the game design program, which is part of the video game section.
And you're from the US, right?
Yes, I am from America.
And I'm Neha from India. I'm doing my 4th year at ArtFX, and I'm specializing in character modeling and sculpting, which is part of this CG program.
Okay, so Caris and Nia will be here also to exchange. Also, if you have any question about how is it to come to France, how is it to join the school, what's the atmosphere there, whatever question you may have, we'll try to answer them. Just as a first moment, I just wanted to come back to what ArtFX is. Can we launch the little presentation? Should I do that? No, here it is. So we are a school. We've just celebrated our 20th anniversary. We were created in 2004. We were one of the first school to teach VFX as a main curriculum, and one of the first school in CG animation. Video games, we've been teaching the whole trade of video games since now 7 years. Our school is really well known worldwide for different reasons. First and foremost, because we are trying to teach all of our students to be prepared for an international market and to work in international studios on international projects. That's why we are very happy and very looking forward to have international students joining the school. Our school itself is solely based in France, in 3 different locations. I think I can do that, yeah. We have 3 sites, so one in Montpellier, which is the south of France, another one in Paris. Everybody knows Paris. It's in the center of France, for those who don't know, and Lille, which is in the northern part of France, that is very close to England also as such, and to Belgium. So those 3 sites offers different curriculum. All of them are offering CG animation and VFX classes. One thing to take into account is we're offering English curriculum only in Montpellier and Lille, and not for all our curriculum, so that's something to be aware of. But you can find CG animation, visual effect, and video game as English taught curriculum in Montpellier, and CG animation and visual effects in Lille. 2D animation programs are taught in French. We have some international students that are coming to France with some level of French and finish their progress in learning French to join the 2D animation, but just as a starter, those classes are not taught, in French, so that's something to remember. And in Paris, all classes are given in French. As you've seen in the photos, like the free school, Montpellier and Lille are pretty alike, whereas Paris is a smaller school. You see, it's an house, so there's only 1 class per year. That's why we cannot for the moment offer curriculums in English there. That's everything in terms of the curriculums have the same core content. The difference is if you are going for video game, you should definitely consider Montpellier, as it's the only school that offers video game. Otherwise, in Lille, we also have a cinema school that is taught in French that is called 24. That's the 2 main difference between Lille and Montpellier otherwise. that's it for this. All our curriculums for CG animation, visual effect, and game art are all starting with the same foundation year, first year that is the same for all curriculums, and that you can access directly. And then if you're unsure for the moment of what specialty you want to go in, it is possible to join and then change your mind or precise what you want during the first year of this curriculum. That's true both for Montpellier and Lille. That's the main things. And now I'm giving the end to Juliette, so that Juliette, can you explain to us how do we apply to try to join ArtFX?
Absolutely. Can we go to the next slide, please? I will now introduce you the admission process. And as you can see on the screen, there are three main steps. The first one is to register on our website. The second one is to share a file and participate to creative tests. And finally, we'll invite you to meet a member of our team. To get a bit more details of this process, when you will register, we will ask you many information, including which campus you'd like to go, which curriculum you're interested in, and most importantly, which session date you'd like to choose. What we mean by a session is actually a weekend. It's a weekend during which you'll be able to complete your creative tests. And between the moment you register to the weekend date, we'll ask you to share with us your file, which includes pretty much quite classical administrative documents like your ID, the last diploma you obtained, if you had one, and also a cover letter and a portfolio. We'll also ask you to complete a multiple choice questions. And if you give us all those documents in time before your session date, then we'll invite you to participate in the creative test. So I'll send you on the Friday night your instruction for the test, and then you'll have the whole weekend to complete it. We'll actually give you some recommendation to do it within 4 hours, but if you feel like you need more time, well, it's up to you because you have the whole weekend to do it. And then if you're eligible, we will invite you to an interview to meet a member of our team. So it's actually a pretty quick process from the moment you start your session, because within 10 days after the interview, we'll give you your admission results. Maybe we can go to the next slide to explain to you a bit more detailed the contents of the tests. So we talked about the multiple choice questions. There are 3 of them. There are timed. So you need to be a bit aware of that, not to be tricked by the time. Please note that all those tests are in English, and also that it's the same test whether you want to apply in first year or third year. So it may appear a bit difficult. Do not worry about that. Do what you can. It's the most important. And also note that none of them are eliminatory at all. So if you feel like you missed something, don't worry, just keep going. It's the most important thing. Then
And
you
Juliette, just to jump on what you were saying about those MCQs, just wanted to give you all the people that have joined these live events an understanding of why we're doing those tests and what we are looking into doing those tests. General knowledge MCQ is about artistic knowledge and technical knowledge. We're asking those questions. They are not eliminatory, but we want to understand what you know so far and what you've been interested in. So basically, we're looking at those tests to get an understanding of what kind of cultural background you have and what kind of technical background you have. They are not eliminatory because we are a school. You're joining the school to learn. So there is no big deal of not knowing something, but understanding from where you're coming from and what you've already been exposed to or what you've been interested into is what is interesting to us. For the English test, I just wanted to stress out that I mean, if you can understand me, that should be fine, but you need to have a sufficient level to be able to follow classes in English. So the test in English and during the interview will also validate that point, that your level in English, because we have people coming from all over the world. What you need to enter is being able to follow a class in English. And finally, logic. Most of you will send a portfolio that is based on your art skill. We're testing your logic because the trade you're coming into, whether it is CG animation, VFX, game, requires at some point to use tools that are a bit technical. Sometimes we confront art and techniques. In the school, you'll always be learning both art and techniques, because techniques are just a new tool to be able to express your art. So while we do this test of logic, it's also to understand how difficult it may become for you to be able to develop the skill sets, the more technical skill sets. It's also an indication for us to understand your profile as a whole. And then the creative test, but I don't think you have described it yet. Yes, you did. So the creative test is really to know like a snapshot of your level, of your creative level at that point. Because it's a time-limited test, we don't expect it to be as good as what you have in your portfolio, where you have spent more time on it. But we understand on the rough, like when you're working on a new subject, how far you can propose something. And it's also a creative test, so we want to see something of your craziness, of your way of thinking of the world through that test. So don't hesitate to be a bit crazy about it, to put something of you in it. That's what we're looking into. Okay.
I'd just like to complete about those creative tests. We're talking here about creative tests, but it's only for the students that are interested in the curriculum of CG animation, VFX, and game art. But the students that are interested in programming or in game design and development, you don't have a creative test per se. It's more about and knowing your understanding of the game development and understanding also how far interested you are in the game development. So you'll have some more question about general knowledge on the game.
And the logic test, I mean, now if we're talking game design, for instance, the logic test will be more important and more looked at, because developing a game design is also developing an internal logic, which is important also. So the test may differ a bit depending on the curriculum. For the what I've said just before was, as Juliette mentioned it, for the artistic tests. And then the interview, just to finish on that, what we're looking into for the interview. So before joining the interview, we have reviewed your portfolio, reviewed your test. We have an understanding of what we think, where we think you are. What we want to understand in that point is your motivation, meaning what you have done before coming into this interview to make this willingness you have to join the school a reality. So we'll try to understand where you have, if you are drawing a lot, when do you draw? If you're doing a lot of pictures, what is interesting to you in that regard, etc., to get an understanding of your motivation in terms of the time you have spent already to prepare for joining a school like ours. So don't be stressed about the interview, because the goal of this interview is to understand better what you have done so far, what you are seeking in the school, to make sure that you're making the correct decision of trying to join our school too, because like it's not a school for everyone. It's a school that you need to be very motivated to enter in, because you're going to learn a lot of things and have a lot of crazy things to develop in there. So you need to be very motivated. That's what we were looking for and into this interview. That's it for the test then. And maybe we can ask Harry and Nia what was their experience going through those admission process, apparently successfully. Harry, you want to start?
Yes. So when I actually first applied, I applied for game art. So I started in the first year here. And I do remember struggling a lot with the logic test. I remember I panicked a bit, but there's really no need to panic. As Simon said, it's very much to just understand where you're coming from. So once I got through and came through art, I was obviously able to switch to design. And you get a basis of that in first year also. So you don't need to know absolutely everything. Just show what you have, your best work, and your best you, especially like the interview. It was very stressful, at least for me. I feel like I was panicking the whole time, but they just want to understand you, what's your motivation, who you are. So you just want to be the most authentic you can be, show the art you love, the work you love. So that was my interpretation.
And was it for you, Nia?
With me as well, I joined in first year, I applied for first year, and same thing, I went through the creative test, I had a theme, I had to make a painting based on it. You have the freedom to like choose whatever method you want, whatever style you want. It's literally just express yourself throughout the theme. For the interview, it was very stressful until it began, but once the interview began, like you realize that it's not an interview, it's more like a conversation and telling your interests and why you chose art as a profession, why you want to study it more. So it's really just talk about your interest and motivation and why you want to join. And for first year, I joined for 2D animation, thinking I would be joining for 2D, but after with all the classes, I realized 3D was another crazy world, super cool stuff, and now I'm doing 3D. So it's really in the first year you get to experience everything, gaming, 3D, 2D, everything, and you still have time to choose.
Mm-hmm.
I think we already have a few questions in the chat box, so maybe we can go through that. Is there a deadline for submitting the file application? So let me answer that a bit wider than just this question. A lot of applicants are asking us like, how far can I wait to send my portfolio, because they are stressed about like, I'm missing this piece, etc. I think the good advice there is, when you feel you have something that starts to be coherent as a portfolio, just subscribe yourself to the next session of application, just so that it gives you a deadline to finish. Because we are all in art. We know how hard it is to finish something. So sometimes working against the deadline is a good thing. So there is to answer directly your question, yes, there is a deadline. Depending on when you apply to the school, you choose a session, which is a date where you are supposed to send all your documents. So that would be your deadline. There are different sessions, one per month. So you can choose either to do the first one, which is starting right now. That Juliette, maybe you can tell us when will be the deadline for submitting documents on the first one.
Yeah, the first session will be on December 6th. So you'll need to submit your portfolio and all other required documents on Thursday 5.
Okay, and then there will be another one in January then. So you can choose whether to do December, January, even February, etc. Don't wait too long, just for that reason. Also, you are all in other curriculums doing other things, so don't push it too far. It's good to know also where you're gonna end up for next year. The advice I would give you is, as soon as you think your portfolio starts to look like something you're happy with, in all cases, don't forget, we are not expecting you to have everything in your portfolio perfect. What we want as students are students that have already developed skill set by themselves, that show interest in the trade, and that is what we want to see in your portfolio. That you have not only mobilized yourself to prepare for that school, and that you are ready to work a lot when joined. That's the two main factors that will decide us to accept you as a candidate.
I'd like to add something on this topic. So yeah, currently, if you apply or register now on the website, you'll see 3 dates available for a session, but we'll add some along the year as the classes are filled. And also, please note, because you're all from different country, different part of the world, when you come to a deadline for a session, I always give the deadline and the hour in French hour. So please be careful with that. When I say, for instance, when you submit your creative test, you have until Sunday at 8 p.m. It's 8 p.m. French time. So just be careful.
That you can get on just typing Paris time in Google. You'll have it directly. Okay, next question maybe. We have a question from Maeva. Hello. Okay, so if my technical skills are not on point, if I prove my motivation, it's enough to pass the test. I would say no, because you're asking this way. We really want the profile that are fitting with the school are profile that have already developed technical skills by themselves. No matter, we are not looking for a particular skills. What we want is to have students that have already proved that they've not only drawn a little bit on the side of during their classes, but have tried to push their skill sets a bit further. I'm saying drawing, but it could be also in CG, it could be photographic, whatever the art form. What we want to see is that your motivation is not starting with trying to entering, but that you've already pushed yourself to do things with art. So that's why I'm saying no. It's just because you're asking widely, like if my technical skills are not on point. If you end up with a portfolio with almost nothing in it, and that you're very motivated, it's bizarre, because like if you should also have produced things and have stuff to show. Maybe that it's not finished, maybe that it's not perfect. That's not the point. The point is to have something that shows the interest that you are for developing skill sets. So after submitting your application, do you have to do the test immediately? That's a question for you, Juliette.
No, you have to do them between the moment you register until the date of the session. So you can do them when you are ready. If you apply maybe a month before the session, then you have a month to do it. So yeah, you're free to do it whenever you want.
We have a question from Nathan. I have applied for the registration, but I didn't get any confirmation mail. We'll look into that maybe directly. Ella, what is the acceptance rate to the Game Art curriculum based on past years? It depends on every year. We are roughly around between 30 and 45% of acceptance rate. So it depends on the year and depends on how many candidates we receive. The reality behind that is that we have a lot of the most important thing is really to read the guides we put on the website and making sure you complete all the steps of the registration, that you show this motivation we're talking about. There's nothing too hard not to enter, meaning like if you show this motivation, you have a good chance of entering. The reality is we have a lot of candidates are dropping off because they don't successfully go until the end of the process too. So that give you an idea, like 30 to 45%, even though like I'm telling you, like if you are motivated, there is a good chance you'll be accepted. So start with thinking you're going to do it, and I'm sure it will go fine, basically. Is there also, we have another question, is there also a minimum and maximum number of works to be provided? Let me answer roughly. So if we're talking about art curriculums, we expect the portfolio to be no smaller than 5, let's say, pages. So when we say pages, most of the time portfolio is in a horizontal form. It's 5 to 10 pages is good. You can go longer than that. What we expect is something around 7 to 10 page of work to be provided. What is important is not filling pages with stuff. The goal here is really to show different aspects of what you've done. Meaning, if you worked on perspective, show some perspective. If you are doing some digital photography, show us that. Don't hesitate also to mention any other art form you're doing. If you're dancing, for instance, this is of interest to us. Why is it of interest? Because if at some point you decide to be character animator, rhythm, dance are skill sets to be an animator. So it's important also to mention that somewhere in your portfolio, even if it's not a drawing. So that's where I'm going to, is really show in your portfolio all the skill sets and all the artistic skill set you've developed so far. That's the important part. You want to go in?
Yes. If I may add something to this one, I think this also may add another question that popped up. For my portfolio, I submitted like a Google Drive folder because I had never done a portfolio before. And I just shared like the finished pieces, like scanned and copied into there. I think I sent in about 10 pieces. When I did, one of the biggest things I focused on was some of my, like, the best work, even if, yes, it might not be perfect, you know, you may want to improve something, but to date, it was the best I had made. You know, I did a variation of mediums, technical skills, you know, and anatomy studies. I also did personal work to show my style. And I ended up also adding an entire like theater script I had written for a short play. And I, at the time, didn't know if this would be helpful in the portfolio, but I was really interested in writing. And thankfully, going into game design, I want to focus on narrative design. That actually, I think, was a really good thing to add to my portfolio. So I would focus on also like the pieces you're most proud of that show a variety of what you're capable of, your skills, what you've invested yourself in. And like Simone said, anything you're interested in that you could show, like if you've done some writing, if you've done the dancing, wherever you've expressed yourself, you know, prototypes, perhaps, if you're a more technical person. So don't stress too much about the quantity. Personally, that's what I felt like when I was going through it, I was just trying to pick out the quality pieces that I really wanted to show my advancement in skill, even if they were not perfect as I had sometimes wished. To just show where you're at in your skill.
I also want to add something. Like you said, the different aspects, I think that's very important because certain topics like perspective, anatomy, all those kind of certain topics, I think it's very important. Like it's there in a portfolio because it's the basis of art. And I remember, I think for not in my portfolio, but in my cover letter, I remember mentioning I used to bake. So it's another type of art form that I express myself to. So it's very cool if you can put something else into your portfolio that makes you stand out and makes you show yourself.
Definitely.
Thank you, both of you, for saying that, because also please remember that everything you're going to share with us, whether it's in your cover letter or it's in your portfolio, it will be probably a topic of discussion during the interview. So if it's indeed something that is important to you, something you are invested in, well, please let us know, because we will be able to exchange about that with you later.
Okay, I hope this answer the answer. I mean, it was a short question. We made it a long thing, but I think it's complete like this. What is made by synopsis? It's written on the website under creative test. So a synopsis is a short form story, like when you maybe Juliette, you can. Okay, so it's the term synopsis means a shorter version of a story. It's what you can. Basically, when you're producing a film, the first thing you do is writing a synopsis of this film, which basically tells the story in a short form. That's what a synopsis is. Maybe any other information about the creative test maybe we need to share about that, Juliette?
No, you answered that. The creative test is... I'm sorry, because I'm a bit confused on where the synopsis word is used on this test.
Yeah,
because
too.
we have another school that is called École 24, more focused on cinema, and for sure that is one of the creative tests. They have to write a synopsis. For the ArtFX, I'm a bit confused, so I will check again and what is written on the website.
No, but that's why I've asked you, because it was just like synopsis. Normally the creative test is a writing, but I was just like, maybe there is something new I haven't seen. But okay, so no, So it might. So we look at the website. I guess we'll check also on our end. But normally you don't have any synopsis if you're going for the arts curriculums. We'll check where that is. So, Maeva, okay, so if we succeed in the test, is there someone to help us for all the administrative things when we are moving to France, like medical care, moving in, etc.? Okay, so yes, we have an international coordinator that is taking care of you as soon as you're registered to the school. They are providing you with information of different steps you need to take to come to France. They are your direct contacts for anything. You also have a kind of welcome week when coming into the school, where they take you not only to visit the city around Lille or Montpellier, but also to help you out understand how to deal with anything about medical care, giving you tips about even where to do groceries, etc., etc. We have Tiffen and Carol, Tiffen for Lille and Carol for Montpellier, that are international coordinator. But maybe the wider question is, how was it for you, Nia, to join France? What was was it complex? Was it?
Yes, there's always the visa application part, which is a headache sometimes because there's a lot of documents, getting approval from the embassies and all those kind of documental stuff. But once you're in France, I think the main thing you have to focus on is like visas and renewing them, and kind of getting the residence permit. Yeah, and my main help was from Carol, like the international coordinator in our school. So she's there to help you with every single thing. Like you can go to her, we can go to her. She'll help you with everything. If you want, she'll even come with you to the office. And because if you don't know French, she can communicate with them for you. So yeah, she's the first help that you'll get for all the procedures.
Yeah, absolutely. And go ahead, Kevis.
I was just going to mention, we also, once you've joined the school, there is a Discord group chat for all international students. So whether it's administration or other students, you're definitely never alone. A lot of us have all been through different issues, whether visa, banking, rent, whatever it may be. I'm sure somebody there has a answer. I'd say the biggest thing when I arrived was I hadn't properly set up or prepared for a bank account or what cards were used in France. So do remember, France is primarily Visa, or I think MasterCard as well. But make sure you have something to be able to pay for groceries, rent, maybe some cash for an emergency. And then also Wi-Fi. I did not have any Wi-Fi when I first got here, so I couldn't research stuff. But I came to the school, and it was actually Solène at the moment allowed me to use the school Wi-Fi, helped me out. So you're never going to be alone. Just keep in mind that these things you get used to when you arrive here, you may not have them yet. So just have a plan in place for your arrival.
And you'll receive a guide to help you figure that out in terms of, okay. Let's move on to the next question from Aria. Hello, I'm currently in my third year animation course from another French university. So can I join in CG animation year 4 at ArtFX? Answer is maybe. We'd be glad to consider your application. So this is what we call a parallel application. So that means you're trying to enter directly in not the first year, but another year. The process is a little bit different. You'll still need to stick with what is written on the website, even though please be prepared, because when you're entering in another year, we're asking for more stuff because we want to make sure that you have a level that is sufficient to be able to follow the classes in that year. And if you're unsure about what year to ask for, just ask for one in all cases during the process. We'll also look at your skill sets, where you're at, and we'll propose to you a year that fits with the current skill set level you have. So it is possible. Every year we have people joining directly in second, third year. Just so that you know, fourth year are very limited because the fourth year is also the beginning of the end of studies project, and the level of skill set is pretty high. So we have very few students entering directly in year 4. It's more common to enter in year 2 or 3, just so that you know, and don't be expecting that level directly. Let's move on to another question, maybe. For the portfolio, I've wrote some descriptions and reflection on my work on the side of each one, which is a really good idea. Is writing in a portfolio okay? Yes. Or do you want just to see the artwork? It is okay. Just think in the way you lay out your portfolio, just put your art piece in front, like so that the text doesn't take the first role in your portfolio, but that your art piece, your pieces are also have space on have room to express themselves, so that we are not like this on the portfolio. That's one advice, and try to be concise too, like to. But it is a good idea to put a bit of description. In all cases, during the interview, what most of the people doing the interviews are doing is also going through the portfolio and asking you again about why you've done that, in what context you've done it, or how long it took you, what you try to express through that, what interests you, what you would like to improve in that piece, etc., etc. That's the kind of questions you should expect to have during the interview in all cases. So if you write things on the side, we'll reread them and have a better understanding already of your work before coming into the interview to discuss with you. Let's continue. Is the application process the same if you're applying for the third or fourth year? Fourth, yeah, that should be fourth year. What is expected for you to send in if you apply for third or fourth year? Juliette, do you want to complete? I think I already started to answer, but maybe.
Yeah, I think you already answered that question. The admission procedure is the same to start with. You're gonna have to follow the same step as for a first year entry. It's then during the interview, we may ask you some work showing your experience and your skills on different skills that our students already have acquired during their previous year. So to start with, it will be the same, and you don't have to prepare something else. But of course, your portfolio or your demo reel must reflect your skills, your current skills.
I'm asking you another question, Juliette. Could the portfolio be a website or just in pages of PDF form?
Yeah, I see that there is a lot of question about the portfolio, about the format. Please note that there is a admission guide that is available already on the website, but also will send you again when you will register, that can guide you on all these questions, on the format and on the weight of the files you're going to share with us. But yes, it can be a website, of course. However, please note that when we ask you to build a portfolio, we ask you to organize it, we want you to show us the best work you did, as Karis was talking about earlier. So if it's a web page, it must be organized as a portfolio, because we don't want, like Simon told, we don't want to see old work of you. We want to see what you want to share with us now, what you've been working on currently to enter this school. So if it's a web page, yes, but it has to be organized as a portfolio.
So if you're sending us a Tumblr, for instance, some are doing that, please, not a Tumblr with 500 pictures from 10 years ago, etc. This is, it shows little. I mean, you should show that you've prepared, that you've took the time to present something that corresponds to your current art as well. What are the strong teaching points in ArtFX compared to other 3D schools? I will answer that in different ways. I guess we are very linked with the industry, which is a very strong point in ArtFX. Just to give you an instance of that, for instance, for the film and for the film jury this year, we had 45 studios coming to the school, plus 15 doing remote interviews of our students. So that's 55 studios that have come to see the students that were going out of the school. I don't think you would find many schools with that many studios. And when we are talking about those studios, there are both French studios and international studios that are coming to try and recruit our students. So that's a strong point. And if that means something about how we teach, because we are very linked with the industry and trying to stay always up to date with what is happening in the industry. And that is a really strong point of our school. So the curriculum that is currently taught in the school, you won't have the same curriculum, because every year we are rewriting our course to make sure that we're always on par with what is happening in the industry. And that is a promise, in fact, that we are doing, because every year our head of curriculums are talking with the industry to change out. Sometimes it's only bits and pieces, but sometimes it's more profound. Talking about AI, for instance, we started to teach AI to our students. It's going teach AI, and not the bad way, and teach AI to make it a successful tool to be able to create stuff, not something that replace creators, which is something that I don't think is happening really. Like, people think it is, but it's not happening. What is happening, it's a new set of tools that you can get, that we can use to express ideas, stories, so that's just so that would be one teaching point. Another teaching point that makes our school different, I think it's also like the culture of the school. We are in the school forbidding any competition between the students. Every students need to be helping each other, and this is a very strong culture in the school, and which leads to the fact that there is not only one teacher in every classroom, but more or less 25. And this, we are in an industry, I mean, we are preparing you for an industry that values the craftsmanship and the capacity to work together. And this culture also helps that, and it's something that the industry is looking for. So having artists that are not only good technicians, good artists, but also good to work with. And I think this is what we try to push in the school, and this culture helps that. I don't know, I can go.
Maybe if we still have the time, I would like Neha and Caris, maybe you could talk about that, and also how it's balanced between theory and practice in your class.
So I just want to add on both the points. So like the professional aspect, like we have many teachers who are working in the industry right now, coming in to teach us. So we have certain people who are currently working, coming for 1 or 2 weeks, like as workshops, and they give us the knowledge on a certain specialization according to what class you choose. So I think it really helps, because since they're in the industry right now, and this industry is something that changes very frequently, we get like a direct knowledge of what's happening and how we should be prepared when we go into this, what skills we need to have, what are they expecting from students. So I think that's a very good point, the interaction we have with people who are in the industry. And secondly, the theory balance. So at the group work, it's very group focused, team members, team relationship. It's very important in our school, because once you join the industry, once you step foot, it's all about teamwork, how you deal with your team members, how you resolve conflict. So yeah, it's another very important point that we focus on. And we actually train from the first year throughout all the 5 years, especially in the 4th and 5th year when we do the end of year project. And it's a team of 5 to 6 students, and creating one short film.
I can speak a little bit on this subject, but from the video game perspective. The video game department will sometimes work with 3D artists as well. So there's a good chance you may work with the video game if you're in 3D. But most of our projects are all teamwork. It's like a minimum like 3, 4 small team up to teams of 20 people for month-long projects. So it's all about, it's not how much you can do alone. It's heavily focused on creating together, how you would work in a actual like corporation, how you'd work with fellow employees, how you'd communicate with your manager. Quite often you communicate with the professors here in a way like I communicated when I was actually in work, when I had a career before this, in a similar way of just asking for assistance with communication, asking for resources. There's a high level of professionalism that's very similar to the actual work field itself. So you definitely feel a sense sometimes when you're on really large projects, like you're just in the career already. You're working with your fellow students, employees almost. You're communicating with the manager, the director of the project, if it's the professor. And you really get the experience of working within the industry. And I really like it. It's really good about what you can do together. You know, if one person's struggling, you help them and you're constantly helping each other.
Thank you.
And better said by you girls. Okay. Another question. I'm a Asian student. If I joined the CNG in 4th year and complete the course, we will get PGWP. I'm not post-graduation work permit. That's a question I would ask you to submit to apply so that we can go that through the international coordinator. Not sure about that, so I don't want to answer something wrong. So we'll get you the answer after this live video, I guess. Aside from where they are in France, is there a big difference between the ArtFX school in Lille and Montpellier? Well, both have their qualities. If I'm gonna ask the students to talk a bit about Montpellier because they are in Montpellier, but I may talk quickly about Lille. Lille is at the center of Europe, really, very close to London, very close to Brussels, very close to Paris, very close to Germany. It's an hub there between all those cities. So what makes Lille as a location interesting is that the school there is really good, as the school in Montpellier. I guess it's more a choice depending on the students, the international students. We have some international students coming from the northern part of Europe that are more interested in going to Lille because it's easier in plane. Some would want more sun and go to Montpellier because it's really sunny Montpellier. How is it Montpellier for you, you two?
Yeah, so like the one big good factor here is the weather. It's sunny and you have the beaches, so it's a good weekend if you want to go to the beaches. But I think Montpellier, especially, it's a very student-friendly city. Like you can see a lot of universities, a lot of students everywhere. So it's very student-friendly, especially you have like student offers almost everywhere. So and the public transport is free now. So yeah, I think like for students, it's a great city, very friendly.
I must say, Lille is also a student city.
We're just slightly partial
but
to
the transportation is not free. The transportation is not free in Lille, so like that's one point for Montpellier. Then. Now, in terms of curriculum, then the core curriculums are the same. There is some differences, but they are minimal, and it's more about like because the teachers are not the same, so they develop also they push more some stuff and others. There is no quality difference. Montpellier is the school is our first school, is the one that created ArtFX, so it has more history, even though like what is happening in Lille is very also very pertinent for developing skill sets, etc. So there's no difference in that regard. Then the two cities are different, and they both have their interest, with the sun as a plus in Montpellier, for sure. Let's continue. All the curriculum adapts to the rapid development of AI technologies. What is the school point of view on this? The school point of view on AI is pretty simple. It's a tool. It's a tool that is a new tool that will change our industries and the way we are making films and video games. It is therefore something that we need to teach and that we need to understand thoroughly, because as it is a tool, it is not something that replaces the artist. This won't happen, but that's something that may help the artists getting new results in different contexts. The way we've started to teach AI in the school is to really give our students an understanding of how it works behind the curtain, so that you understand the course I don't know. Have you already had the AI courses for you?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No.
Okay, it's in your program because you
Yeah.
should start this year. And the course is the first slide of the course is called Don't Panic. And I think that the first class is all about understanding why we shouldn't panic, but why it is something to embrace and that it's a new revolution. Just to make it clear, like CG, 3D was a revolution for drawing also at some point in time that changed the way we produced film and what narratives we can do. AI will have some similar impact on the industry. It won't replace everything. It will enhance, change, and this is not something uncommon for our industry that have changed a lot in 100 years. If you were talking about the cinema industry, so it's really something that we shouldn't let the bad guys use only, and we should have all the artists taking them as a tool to be able to express new ideas, to be able to propose new art forms with it. Just so that it's clear for everyone, this technology, for instance, will help authors do animated films with less means than what is required today. So it might also be a tool that may help express more because it's more achievable with less means, less money, to be able to do a full film because of AI. So that's also something that may help express new ideas, express new stories to the world. So that's something to take into account. Yep.
I just want to add something because, like I said, I'm in fourth year, so we're doing the end of year project where we have to come up with a whole story and then make it into a short film. So we are not like, we are a very visually developing school. We focus more on 3D and visuals. So our skills for story writing and script writing are very less compared to it. So we had to take the help of AI to kind of like make stories of the ideas we had. So I think like AI really like helped us to, so like not to see it as the bad guy in the story. So yeah.
And if you want to see something that was already done by our students with AI, you can watch on YouTube the film Silhouette that was released not this year, but the year before, that won the Visual Effects Society Award. And in the YouTube page of the school, you just type in Silhouette ArtFX, you'll find the short film, watch the film, and after the film, you have a making of, and the student will explain how they've used AI to achieve this film. And most of they've used it mostly for doing crowd animation and building crowds for the film, but that will give you an idea of how it's already used in the school and how the students may use it already. Okay, do we have a lot of, no, very few, so I think this would be maybe our last question, right? We're kind of in the time. I want to become an environment artist, but not sure if I want to do that for games or animation or VFX. Right now, my portfolio focuses more on game art or Unreal Engine, I guess, 5. What program should I apply for? Okay, it's... have you already asked a question, Shadow Ping? In which... how old are you? That would be my question. And what have you done so far? Because it's a very specific question to answer.
I will start to answer this question maybe more generally. Please, if you like to apply for first year, when you register, we ask you which curriculum you're interested in. However, you can choose that you don't know yet, and it's okay. Maybe while you will prepare for your admission, while you'll have the interview with a team member, then it will help you decide which curriculum you should choose, and also for the programs that are mentioning in this question, the first year is a common year, so you'll have to choose your specialization at the end of first year, so you still can change your mind. It's all right, and also discover what you're more interested in.
I do just want to add, if you have lots of experience with Unreal Engine 5 and you really enjoy that, I would encourage game art. I may be a bit biased. If you're wondering about the other sections, I would recommend just looking into the other programs and seeing if you're comfortable with them, if you enjoy working with them. Things such as using like Houdini, which they do a lot with more 3D, and even some of our programmers actually in video game and the artists a little bit looking at Houdini, ZBrush, Maya, what other programs do you enjoy using? And if you're most comfortable and most confident and happy with using Unreal Engine 5, I would recommend you continue with game art, as that basis with Unreal Engine will be extremely helpful in the program.
Yeah, that seems the way to go, as is saying that Unreal Engine is his main tool for the moment, if he is already inside another curriculum, because I guess if you have already a portfolio in game art and Unreal Engine 5, you're not asking for the first year. But so don't hesitate to ask. Yeah, okay, so that we answered correctly. Apparently Shadow is thanking us. So okay, so just to finish up, to wrap this up, Julia, do you want to restate a bit like the next stages? So we have our first admission session.
So we gave you the three first date for the first session admission. So the first one will be on December 6th, the second one on January 3rd, and then on January 24th. And as we said before, we'll add some more along the year. Then if you are in France, on February 1st, you have an open day. We encourage you to come and see us. You'll be able to meet students, meet teachers, to see how the student life is on our campuses. And also, if you're not in France at this date, but you're here for holidays at different moment of the year, we have open campuses that are maybe once a month on Wednesday afternoon. You have all the dates on our website, and you can register for a more, let's say, private tour with a small group of students. And you'll also be able to meet our students and teacher on site.
Just to complement, because the dates are written in the French way, so 6/12 is December 6th. So January 3rd and January 24th would be the next three sessions.
I just would like to add also, really don't hesitate to send us email. We're here to answer all your questions, so really feel free to reach out.
And thank you all for spending this time. We hope we've answered as many questions. If you have any others, apply at ArtFX. We are there to help you, and we will be glad to see you in the school maybe next year, or before that during an interview. If you end up in an interview with me, it's possible. So thank you all for your time, and thank you, Karis and Nia, to have joined us to share your experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice morning, evening, wherever you are in the world.
Bye.
Bye-bye.